I want to call to order the Amberley Village Council meeting of July 11. Please call the roll.
Ben Hunt,
Here.
Tom Muthing,
Here.
Keely Paul, Bob Rosen, Jay Schatz,
Here.
Andrew Kakey,
Here.
Chief Wallace,
Here.
Rick Kay.
And if everyone could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is our minutes from we have 3 minutes to approve this evening. The first is our special council meeting of June 6th. Those were circulated in advance. Are there any comments on those minutes? Seeing none, we can consider those minutes approved. Next is our minutes from our regular council meeting of June 13th. Are there any comments on those minutes? Seeing none, consider those minutes approved. And the final is our special council meeting of June 14. Are there any comments on those? Seeing none, those can be approved. Next item on the agenda is our finance report for May 2022, and in the village manager's absence, I will present that as the chair of the finance committee. Earnings tax collections were $180,000 in May, and year-to-date are almost $2 million. We are on track to reach our budget for earnings tax revenues of $3.4 million for the year, which compares to $3 million last year. So we're progressing very well this year on the earnings tax collection. Year-to-date expenditures for the general fund were $2.2 million as of the end of May, which is 36% of budget. But this is artificially low because the staff pay increase, which council approved at the last meeting, provided that would be retroactive to April 1, which is our normal date for giving staff increases. So in the month of June, we will have a big catch-up to that, which gets us back more in line. But we're still in good shape on the expenditure side for the year. And then finally, the unencumbered fund balance at the end of May was $6.4 million. So again, in good shape on that. Are there any questions related to the finance report? If not, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda. And tonight we are looking to appoint Darrell Wood to council. This is as a result of the vacancy of Vice Mayor Natalie Wolf. The council did go through the process that we've gone through in the past, whereas in the past, the previous 2 vacancies were council seats that were at large. So this was a council seat limited to District B, but we did do an open posting, and again, this council started this process of having open postings with our last 3 vacancies as a way of hoping to ensure that we get the maximum number of good candidates in. And that is really what we're all about, is trying to get the best candidates, similar to what you'd have in an election, people putting up their hand. In this case, we sought open listing. In this case, we had 2 candidates for District B. Council went through an exhaustive interviewing process of that, and then our council selected Darrell Wood as the appointed. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Darrell Wood to council.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we appoint Darrell Wood to council. Are there any questions or comments? If not, it has been moved and seconded that we appoint Darrell Wood to council. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Be it noted that that resolution passed unanimously. And now I ask that Councilwoman Wood come forward for the oath of office, and our village solicitor, Andy Kakey, will administer the oath.
Okay.
Raise your hand. I, Darrell Wood, as a member of the Council of Amberley Village, Ohio,
I, Dara Wood, as a member of the of the Council of the Village of Amberley Village, Ohio,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I shall follow
that I shall follow
and uphold the Constitution
and uphold the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America,
and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of Amberley Village, Ohio,
of Amberley Village, Ohio,
and shall faithfully perform my duties
and shall faithfully perform my duties
as prescribed by the Charter
as prescribed by the Charter
and ordinances of Amberley Village
and ordinances of Amberley Village
and the laws of the State of Ohio.
and the laws of the State of Ohio.
Congratulations on the council.
Thank you.
You can take your seat. Okay, next, as a result also of Vice Mayor Natalie Wolf moving out of the village and having to leave council, we have a vacancy for Vice Mayor, so I would like to accept the nominations for Vice Mayor.
Mayor, I would like to nominate Ben Hunt for the position of Vice Mayor.
Are there any seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, and it's been moved and seconded for Ben Hunt to be the Vice Mayor. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, it's been moved and seconded that we appoint Ben Hunt as Vice Mayor. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Be it noted that that appointment is unanimous. And I think it's appropriate also, do we do an oath of office for the Vice Mayor?
We don't have one. It's probably so we can just look at those.
Yeah. I mean, we normally do have the oath of office for the Vice Mayor, so,
We did.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, you could go down on the left-hand X.
No, with I got you. Just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ben Hunt,
I, Ben Hunt,
as Vice Mayor of the Council of Amberley Village,
as Vice Mayor of the Council of Amberley Village,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I shall follow
that I shall follow
and uphold the Constitution
and uphold the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America,
and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter and ordinances
the Charter and ordinances
of Amberley Village, Ohio,
of Amberley Village, Ohio,
and shall faithfully perform my duties
and shall faithfully perform my duties
as prescribed by the Charter
as prescribed by the Charter
and ordinances of Amberley Village
and ordinances of Amberley Village
and the laws of the State of Ohio.
and the laws of the State of Ohio.
Congratulations, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, next item on the agenda before you this evening is our committee listing. As a result of the new council member, we did revise the committee listing. It's pretty much, Councilwoman Wood pretty much took Vice Mayor Wolf's position on all the committees. The only real changes is that on the Land Development Committee, Councilman Schatz will replace the Vice Mayor as the chair of that committee, and then Councilwoman Wood will go on that committee. And then In the case of the Public Buildings and Parks Committee, Councilwoman Wood replaces Bob Rosen on that committee. But other than that, Councilwoman Wood is replacing Natalie. So I hereby move that we approve the committee listing that's before you this evening.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we approve the committee listing. Are there any questions or comments? If not, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the committee listing as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be it noted that that passes unanimously. So we'll now move on to committee reports, and first the We Thrive Health and Wellness Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I just wanted to thank all of the village residents who've been participating in the Health and Wellness Committee sponsored events, both Pick Up Pickleball and Yoga on the Lawn. We've had more participants each week. We're up to 15 individuals that have been participating regularly with Yoga on the Lawn, and 10 village residents who've been participating in Pick Up Pickleball at the tennis courts. So again, just reporting back that the weather continues to challenge. Earlier in the spring it was the rain, and now the last 2 weeks it's been the thunderstorms. But we do continue to have great turnout, and we want to just remind everyone that Pick Up Pickleball takes place on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8 at the tennis courts, and that Yoga on the Lawn occurs on Wednesdays from 6:30 to 7:30, a half hour of yoga with meditation afterwards, led by an instructor from the JCC. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Are there any questions? Now we'll move on to the Public Buildings and Parks Committee.
We had a meeting on May 17th where we discussed two topics. The first one, a village resident invited someone from the Cincinnati Nature Center to talk to us about the potential for putting in some prairie space on Amberley Green. Prairie space restores native habitat, it benefits pollinators and birds, and it helps improve what they call pride in place. Also, because of its relationship with wildlife, it would be a better opportunity for native birds, which would potentially increase bird watching opportunities on the green. It's also, comparing to lawn, it tolerates the drought. It resists weeds and invasive species like hemlock. And it only needs mowing once a year. So there's a lot of benefits to this. We discussed it. And it would be best for us to do this in the fall due to the cycle of grants. That would be impossible for us to find grant money for this fall. But if there were residents who wanted to fund this, we could definitely do that. It would take about $20,000 for the entire project. If we're going to try to fund it with grant money, that cycle starts in the winter, spring. And so we would apply for grants right at the new year, for the fall of 2023. It's actually very interesting. We think the best place would be on what used to be the third green. Third fairway? Third something. Which is roughly behind the community garden. So if this is something that we would do, we would probably do it in 2023.
And it would be 4 to 6 acres.
Correct. It would be 4 to 6 acres. Good point. Some old business came back around. We had previously discussed adding additional pieces of play core equipment to the municipal park. We were able to buy 2 pieces, and they have arrived. Do we know where they are in the process of being installed?
I do not. I know where they're going.
Right. So they have to identify a place to put them, etc., and our maintenance team will put them in place. So those are our only 2 things. Thank you.
And that again was paid for by leftover grant.
Yes, that was paid for by We Thrive money.
Councilman Schatz?
Are we soliciting village residents to, I mean, how are we publicizing?
I am not aware if we are. However, there were several very enthused village residents at the meeting, and I need to link back with them.
Okay.
And I think there's an upcoming Public Buildings and Parks
There
Committee
is. We
that
have
we
another
will
meeting in a
discuss
couple
that.
of weeks.
Be great in the newsletter, obviously, to publicize that, but also maybe give a satellite, an aerial, to give a sense of the
Okay.
4 to 6 acres, because that's pretty substantial.
Yeah, I actually have an aerial in our minutes, but of course, black and white shows nothing. We forget how important color is.
Any other questions?
One other question. Councilwoman Paul, I know that in that meeting, one of the things that I really took away that I really think is going to be important for the community is the connection with Cincinnati Nature Center, that partnership is kind of part of the way that we're getting, they're looking for a partner, we're looking for a partner, and they were the ones who kind of came to the table with some of these ideas. So I just thought that was important to note for the record, that Cincinnati Nature Center would be involved.
And they would not just be involved in the initial installation. They have a lot of enthusiasm for these projects. And in projects that have already been established for a couple of years in other parts of the city, he still checks in on those, keeps them on track, assembles groups of volunteers to help out if things are off track. He's really a very generous individual.
And for anyone that goes out to the Cincinnati Nature Center at Row Woods, they do have much larger than 4 to 6 acres. They have a prairie that they've developed over on across the road from the main part of the Row Woods.
I have a small note to that. The Cincinnati Nature Center on their own property does, instead of mowing the property, burns it. We would not, under any circumstances, burn our section of prairie. It would only be mown.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to the chief's report.
I just got one item. I just want to remind everybody about the ice cream social on Sunday, August 28th, 1 to 3 p.m. Again, we'll be back in person this year, first time in a few years. We'll again have UDF ice cream, a flavor ice, as well as hot dogs. We're serving out kosher and non-kosher dogs to the community. We're still, if anybody wants to join a sponsorship or something, we're always still willing to bring on a few more sponsors to help cover the cost of the event.
Any questions for the chief? Now we'll move on to the mayor's report. I have a few items tonight. First, I think we as residents, again, are very thankful for, we were in a council meeting during the storm 2 times ago when the staff did such an outstanding job in response. The storm of last week, again, the staff did an outstanding job. And I really need to commend not only the staff, but the chief. During that storm that obviously hit Goshen a lot more than it hit here, the chief actually called me on his way out to Goshen shortly after the storm had hit, and he was going out to help out. So again, I think it's a great indicator, and I think some of our maintenance guys went out the next day to help out. So again, they respond here in the storm, and they help out our neighbors, and they should be commended for that great job. And thanks for your leadership to help make that happen. Second, for anyone that drives on North and South Farmcrest, please avoid that for the foreseeable future. The project that we've talked about for years is now underway. I actually walked through it yesterday, and it is, it's obviously very tough on the residents, and so keeping any other traffic to a minimum is very important. So please avoid driving in that area for the next month or so. They are first doing the stormwater work, and then after that, after they've done the new storm sewers, they will start on, well, Cincinnati Water Works as a separate contractor, which will be doing the water main replacement. And then because of the delay in getting the equipment for the water main replacement, the actual paving replacement won't be done until next spring. So the residents of these streets are going through a prolonged period, but over the winter, it will be restored to the point where, you know, it's very passable and everything like that. But next spring will be just very disruptive for them again. Next, I've been asked to announce a couple gardening courses that are available down at and these are on the website, but as the Civic Garden Center has, our Amberley Village Garden is one of what's called the hub gardens for the Civic Garden Centers, and they put on gardening courses down there, and there are actually over the next, there's one there this evening, but there's 5 further courses, one more in July, 2 in August, and 2 in September. And please consult the website for those, but there's 2 of those are on cooking with what you get out of the garden. One is on entrepreneurial gardening, one is on composting, and one is on container gardening. And from what I've understood, the people that have attended, they are very useful gardening courses.
Tonight's is cooking, and July 20th is container, so
Right.
next year.
And then the last item I wanted to mention was the next Environmental Stewardship Committee meeting has been moved. We moved it to August 3rd, which is a Wednesday. Normally, the Environmental Stewardship Committee meets on the 4th Monday of most months. They meet 8 months a year, but they wanted to move it to earlier in August to be able to plan what the Environmental Stewardship Committee will do at the ice cream social. So we moved it to August 3rd. There is not a meeting in July. But again, the next meeting down in the community room, August 3rd at 7 o'clock. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions? Any new business? Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez. Messed up my own agenda. Similar to the appointment of a new council member, we also went through a process to appoint a new member of the Planning Commission, and this was also as a result of Scott Wolf moving out of the village. And in this case, we had 6 candidates that put up their hand to join the Planning Commission, and you know, it was great. The village manager and I went through the process of going through the interviews on those. Great candidates, but both the village manager and I agreed that for this next appointment that we should appoint Craig Capozzo as a member of the Planning Commission. And this is a mayor's appointment, but I make a motion that this is approved by all of council. So I hereby move that we appoint Craig Capozzo to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we appoint Craig Capozzo to the Planning Commission. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, if not, it has been moved and seconded that we appoint Craig Capozzo to the Planning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Be noted that motion passes unanimously. And in the case of the Planning Commission, that again has 5 members. 2 of the members' terms are up at the end of the year, so you know, we'll be looking as to whether we continue with those or appoint new members. So it was good to have a chance to see some new faces for the potential on the Planning Commission. Now, is there any new business? Okay, if not, we consider the meeting adjourned. Thank you and welcome.